Welcome back. I am Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are going to be breaking down the 2023 NFL season of the Los Angeles Rams and also previewing the 2024 offseason for them on some potential team needs that they have, key free agents that we think that they should re-sign, or just notable players that we think are going to be leaving, and also just kind of going over all of their draft picks as well. Before we do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new content. Ryan and I, leading up to the draft, we have multiple 3-round and 7-round mock drafts that will be Rams specific. So be sure to get notified by those by ringing the bell and liking and subscribing also. Ryan, let's pull up the slide here. Rams ended up going 10-7. If you want to go back one slide, actually.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it's all good. Ended up going 10-7 here. And offensively, I remember that was just the shock because we knew Matt Stafford could do still a Hall of Fame quarterback here. How was the offensive line going to do? Overall, ended up being top 10, only giving up 34 sacks on the season. And the real thing, though, obviously, is just going to be the emergence of Puka Nacua. That really helped out. Actually, and I say that, though, too, I look at the rushing stats. Kyron Williams had an amazing season as well.
I was going to touch on that. Statistically, they were better when he was in the game, but I think eye test-wise, this offense was much, much more balanced when Kyron Williams was able to play.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and so the thing to me, and I want to double check here because I know that they played. Where is this here? Sorry, I'm trying to find the Los Angeles Rams stats here. I should have had it up here before, but he even missed. He went on IR for some time here, and he only played. You know this. He only played in 12 games. Only started 11. He had 1,144 rushing yards, 12 total touchdowns, and then he did end up having 32 catches and 206 rushing yards. Funny story about him, I'll always remember him. I'm sitting down in the basement week 1 with Dad. It is 12:50 p.m. Eastern time, so like the games are about to start. He finds out which running back. I think it was a Seattle running back. He's not playing today.
It was the Rams running back. Kyron Williams was his backup going into the year.
But he picked him up like right then. Like he picked him up 10 minutes before the season started. Started him, and then like the rest was history.
You know who he was playing that week?
That was you, right?
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah.
He did that, and then Kyron Williams dropped 40 in week 1.
Yeah, against the Seahawks. Yeah, absolutely. That's when Puka Nacua started as well. So that's where I think they just struck gold. I mean, it's not too often you have a 5th-round receiver that just explodes like how he did. Mm-hmm. And he should have honestly been the way he played, every team's like, I would have taken him top 10, if he was going to have that production. But how he fits with Cooper Kupp, how Kyron Williams fits together, I think then also the offensive mind of Sean McVay. I think he's up there potentially as coach of the year just with what he did. I think as well. I personally have Matt LaFleur over him. And also, I would say Kevin Stefanski as well.
Kevin Stefanski is the one for me. That's the guy. But anyways, this is a Rams video.
Yeah. No. I was talking about Sean McVay.
Yeah.
This where, though, and watch them in the playoffs here definitely kind of assured me. Now, of course, the Lions have one of the top offenses, but this defense just is just young. And that's just the area where they need to keep improving on because I think Stafford has a couple more years left in him. I think they're going to keep improving on the offensive line. Kyron Williams is how old is he? He's 23, so he's young. Puka Nacua, he's young. He's going to be their number 1 receiver, if not already the number 1 receiver. Cooper Kupp's got a couple years left. Tyler Higbee did tear his ACL, but I'm getting on the offensive side of the ball. I'm saying they're set. Yeah. Defensively, I think that's where they really need to address and. I think they fought hard, but you could just tell that it was just not.
They were undermanned.
They were overachieving with the talent that they had, and I think that's if we want to go on to the next slide here, kind of with their.
Well, I do want to touch on one thing.
Go ahead.
Before we go on, the big stat to me that sticks out is that they were 26th in sacks with Aaron Donald on the defensive line, and I think that really just shows how lackluster the pieces are on that line around him. So. To going into the offseason, they have about $50 million just under in cap space. The notable free agents, Ahkello Witherspoon, Demarcus Robinson, John Johnson, Bryson Hopkins. I put Carson Wentz on there, not because it's Carson Wentz, but I do think with Matthew Stafford getting up there in age, developmental quarterback to be the backup is going to be probably a fairly high priority in this class. I think this is a good class to need one. Guys that I like for that role would probably be the Spencer Rattlers, the Michael Pratts of the world, like the third, maybe early day 3 guys that they could make a move to get. That's the kind of move that I think that they would be looking to make there.
Well, and on top of that too, just a shout out, Stetson Bennett still is a Los Angeles Ram. He was out this season for non-football related injuries, so that's something I think that could be interesting to watch as well. But I do agree with your point, though. Especially honestly, a guy like Spencer Rattler, where I think if you put him then under the offensive mind of Sean McVay, and and then you have him sit behind Matt Stafford for a couple of years, maybe he can learn something. And his time at South Carolina wasn't atrocious, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he does throughout like this combine season. So, but I agree. Those are some big ones. I don't really think this. Kevin Dotson, the offensive guard. He's the right guard here, but I think that they should be able to replace him. Not replace. Well, they should be able to replace him, but I mean, I think that they'll be able to re-sign him. Yeah, and so they are sitting at $48.2 million in cap space as well.
Yeah, I do. So I do have offensive line and wide receiver as a need in the offseason. So I know that Puka Nacua was obviously a hit. Cooper Kupp is still a really solid receiver, but he is 32, and I do think if Demarcus Robinson were to get a bigger offer somewhere else, he probably would leave the team. And so I think that there will be some space there for another wide receiver to potentially come in, especially at 19. I think if they're really going to go all out next year, if they want Matthew Stafford to continue to have these great weapons, I could see somebody at 19 that they might really, really like. And then edge, get somebody next to Aaron Donald, I think is the biggest thing, in my opinion, this offseason. Can they go get a Brian Burns? If the Jags don't franchise tag Josh Allen, can they go and get him? Or, I mean, shoot, the Rams haven't had a first-round pick in like 3 years because they keep trading for players. So do they take that 19th overall pick and turn it into a more established player that they could potentially go after? So
it could be interesting. Yeah. I will say, I think receiver position, I think that, not saying I'm sure they'll get somebody later round, but Tutu Atwell actually started over Demarcus Robinson for a lot of games. He started in 14 games. So he is actually on the depth chart, technically the backup to Demarcus Robinson. But I think that they would probably replace him there. And Cooper Kupp, he's getting up there, and he's at 30 now. And so
in that, it's just in that system, I think they need a heavy flow of receivers, because I think Cooper Kupp is going to be that coverage mover, right? That offenses want. But then I think they just need more supporting pieces, especially now you look at Tyler Higbee tore his ACL, and he's going to be out. I know he's a tight end, but he was much more of a move tight end. I just think that there's other moves. I guess I should have said wide receiver, tight end in pass that.
Catchers.
Yeah, just a pass catcher.
Yeah. I like it a lot. I agree with you. I'm very defensive heavy on them. I do think maybe they could improve the offensive line technically. But that being said, though, I mean, they improved so much from 2022 to this year and then with how well of a season Kyron Williams had, I just keep improving off what you did this year if it's offensive line, and if you can find a guy that's potentially better talent, or if you're not able to replace Kevin Dotson, there are some good rookies that you can go and get that could come in and probably play day one. But that first pick, though, I'm almost thinking defense. I had this guy in my mock draft going number 19, but it was when the Packers were there. I think Cooper DeJean, would be a great fit. It probably just because I look at it because he's a Swiss Army knife when it comes to that secondary. He can do nickel. He can do outside technically. He can play safety. He can come into the box as well. So I just think for a team that, especially weaker on the secondary, having a guy like that you can let's figure out what he's best at and utilize him there or move him around. But at the same time, though, to your point, there's going to be, if they want to go and get that other playmaker as well and kind of start to prepare for after Cooper Kupp, or if Cooper Kupp does get hurt because he's been a little injury prone, I think that picking 19, I mean, Potentially Brian Thomas could be there. Troy Franklin, A.D. Mitchell's definitely going to be there. Try and find a guy that you feel is going to best fit your system. Or also, too, potentially maybe try and find one of these offensive linemen, turn him into a guard to help out with that interior, or just offensive line just in general. So
yeah, I get it. Another tackle in that rotation.
Rams are in a really good spot. They're not as young as the Packers, but I see similarities between the two teams, just kind of on their trajectory. So they're going to be a lot of fun to watch in 2024.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Let's go ahead and wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of the Rams in 2023. Did they meet or fall short of your expectations? And then what do you want to see them do going forward into the 2024 offseason? Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.